and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson. Peace.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Robot, man, this is about to be a good one, man. This is really a surprise class. It's really a Q&A, but I got some good questions for Chief because I heard we've been talking about this, and we got a couple classes on Thanksgiving, but this one right here for the be exclusive, man. And I got some clips too that I can play, Chief, of different people giving their perspective on it. But this is the first question I got for you because I've been getting attacked about this, Chief. Okay, so people asking me, why is everybody dark skinned? Like when you talk about the Thanksgiving and like the pilgrims, they wonder why is everybody, it's a couple white people, they wonder why is everybody dark skinned here? Like white folks really want to be the guys that did us in. They really want to be the guys that they really want to be the pilgrims. And these guys that came over, that colonized, they really want to be those guys. Could you break down why those guys, why everybody was dark skinned, and the guys that did us, that look like us, really who were avatars, were dark skinned guys? Because like I say, it's white people out here mad, man. Why everybody is dark skinned in this thing? In your
So
video.
Which video did you show?
I showed the videos of the colonization videos, like the native videos where they colonizing us and they dark skinned curly haired people. They Negropeans.
Okay, let's delve a little bit into this. The pale faced Europeans, they don't get here to the 1600s, right? Who's the first ones over here? Right. They tell us it was a guy named Christopher Columbus. Am I correct?
Right.
When you do the background on Christopher Columbus, you find out that he was a Sephardic Jew, Spanish Moor. Right? And he come from wait a minute, make sure I got his name right. Cologne family. Colognes is a melanated European group that was part of the ones being exiled from Europe as royalty. Okay, now, when they got kicked out of Europe, they all first went to Almagria. Now, the Inquisition was not a 5 or 10 year affair.
No, that shit was fun.
Right? The Inquisition started around the 11 or 1200s. the Inquisition do not expel the Moors, the Black Europeans, the Negropeans, don't expel them from Europe. They don't finally break their stronghold and make them surrender until 1492.
Right.
Okay, now in 1492, what else happened? Columbus supposed to got here, right?
Right.
Okay, now when Columbus came, they went on a murder spree.
That's right.
And the people they was murdering was ruddy red, organic, original people from the land.
Right.
Right? Okay, now that was on the island that became Hispaniola. Hispaniola now is a two-part island. It's Dominica, Haiti.
That's right. I've been there before.
Right? Now, when the reason it's split is because the territory was split between conquistadors, los Dominicans, they give you your Dominican Republic, which is the Domingo family of Royal European exiles. The family was Domingo, right? Which traces back to the Medicis, right? So now you see places like Santo Domingo, then you have Dominica Republic. All that's coming from this colonizing faction known as Domingo, right?
Okay.
They're Latin-speaking people, Jews, melanated, nappy head, Hebrew Israelites, right? So when they come over here, they train to take over instead of coming over here and just joining on to us like the Asians did.
Yeah.
When the Asians came over here, and we're going to get some receipts to this when what I'm about to tell you, but you had something in Mexico called the Chinese Road. The Chinese Road was the import from the Pacific of Asians into America around maybe 1100. Right? We was always doing business on the West Coast with Asia, all the way down going into the islands. The Hawaiian people are a sovereign individual people. They're not part of the United States. The Dole family firm is part of the United States that seized the Hawaiian Empire. Right? They murdered their queen.
Yep. I got a tape on it.
So we got to remember what these people was doing in order to know who we fight. Right? So the Dole family go back to the Domingo family. They all tied up in family groups of exile royalty from Europe that was exiled in the Inquisition. Upon the exile of the Inquisition, the people being expelled are Spanish Jews that's melanated, and your what's them people called?
Protestant.
Your Ottomans.
Okay.
The Byzantine Empire of Ottomans is also the same Moorish empire that took control of Europe in 711 AD. Yeah, remember you had your Byzantine kings and your Byzantine wars.
I remember that.
And when they invaded into or when they took hold of Europe in 711, it's because the Egyptian family that was responsible for administering civilization under the Greeks first, right? They weren't maintaining the political arena of Europe. And that's how the 711 invasion of the Moors, right? They came in across because they was already at this time they getting kicked out of Africa, mind you. They get kicked out of Africa by Africans, but they look like Africans. But the Africans knew them apart from themselves. Right. So they getting kicked out in 7-Eleven through at the time was the Western Kemetic province. Today we call it the Morocco. It's not Morocco. It's Western Kemet. All the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Right. The extreme province of Goshen. When you look up the word Goshen, it's going to say extreme province of Egypt. What that means is it's the metropolitan kingdoms that rose up that supported the root empire of Kemet. These included your Sudanese and Ethiopian empires. Right? You got to remember, we had a king of the north and a king of the south, which our pharaoh of the north, pharaoh of the south, which is actually the lady of the north and the lady of the south. Till they tricked us. But anyway, that being said, the trade route was the Nile for the tributaries from Somalia, Sudan, Ethiopia to contribute to the capital empire of Kemet. Going the other way back to Timbuktu, right? Going into the kingdoms of Ghana, Mali, Songhai, which was all the different kingdoms at different eras of different rulership families. So they are doing business with Kemetic priests. Your city of Fez also had a big university there. Right? The university was set up by Egyptian priests long before the people that came from the Middle East and was kicked out of Kemet, and they drove them west. This is all in the Egyptian hieroglyphic history. They drove these people west because, as Elijah Muhammad say, everywhere they go and they cause mischief and bloodshed. When they drove them the furthest west, they blew up the land bridge and created something known as the Pillar of Hercules. The salt water filled in the valley, and the valley became the Mediterranean Sea, which was actually a meteor crater, or I would rather say a nuclear bomb crater. Right? Now, remember, they tell us about the volcanic explosion in Mount Vesuvius, right? The Mount Vesuvius was a controlled demolition of a. It was trying to fill in a crack where the waters from the Mediterranean was seeping into the inner earth. They had to fill in the crack by blowing the volcano. They just didn't know that the method they used would trigger such a great explosion. Most of the people suffocated under the weight of the ash. Inhaling that ash, suffocating. Right? Okay, now, while this is the buildup to who is in rule in Europe in 1492 when Columbus came. Columbus went to Isabella and Ferdinand. Who in the hell is Isabella and Ferdinand? That's the king and queen of Spain at the time. Right? They got swept up in the Inquisition. You got to go back and remember that. They end up being beheaded, if I'm not mistaken. Also, that not contemporary with this, but a little few years offset is what we call the French Revolution. Right? Remember, the Huguenots are French-speaking Moorish Jews. Dark skin, woolly hair. The Spanish is dark skin, woolly hair.
That's right.
Conquistadors.
That's right.
They was named conquistadors as the army of the Tudor family. Now, these are the ones who came first, the Tudors. This is where you get your conquistador. It's the conquest of the Tudors. Conquistador mean Tudor conquerors. They conquered in the name of the Tudor family, right? So now you got your Tudors is giving us conquistadors from Spain, and your Huguenots are coming out of France.
Mm-hmm.
When they're getting over here, they calling themselves Jews or Judeans or Jacobins,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But
And we didn't mind them coming over here as long as they worship under their own vine and fig tree. The problem is they was in cahoots to seize America and buy their way back into Europe through the Swiss connection.
yeah, right, Rod, you own them.
Okay, now when we see the Pilgrims in 1600s, those not pale-faced pilgrims.
Right.
Though the history books is telling us they pale-faced pilgrims. The pale-face don't start coming in mass until around 1685. The Pilgrims came around 1611 to 1619. The first so-called African slaves is alleged to have been on that boat that came in 1619.
Right.
Right? But they didn't come as slaves according to the manifest. They came as passengers. And then most of the people didn't live that came. Right? Which brings us to what was we doing around the day that they call Thanksgiving? What was we already doing?
Right.
Do you remember the story in Thanksgiving? Because we might need to give the people the story.
I got a clip that plays what they originally said. What they
roll the corn.
What they massacred the Pequot people.
Yeah, that was Black Friday.
I play that clip real quick.
Yeah, that was Black Friday. Go ahead.
Okay, so they massacred them the day after Thanksgiving.
Let
me roll one real quick to see. Which one is this? Is it this one?
If you want to talk about how Thanksgiving came about.
I do want to talk about it. First of all, you got to remember, my dear brother, that history, his story. It's not our story. When they proclaimed Thanksgiving, it was in Mystic, Connecticut, a tribe of Indian people, the Pequots, that were thriving and surviving. But shortly after, we taught these white people how to farm and how to take care of the land and raise food. They got beside themselves. A few years after they started prospering, they decided that they were going to take their women and their children out to a big field and have a cookout celebration. No Indians brought deer. There was never a Thanksgiving dinner with them, according to what they say. Not true. The celebration of Thanksgiving was the men walked off from their families and went further north into Mystic, Connecticut, and they murdered these Pequot Indian children, elders, women, and men. Got them in the enclosure of their habitat. They had built forts, per se, but that was only for the protection of their people. And they trapped them in where they couldn't get out, and they set it on fire, and they burned them to death. Then they came back. They were so thankful that they had killed these Indians, but that was the first Thanksgiving, not what you read about in their books.
It wasn't until when President Lincoln decided, instead of having it every other day when they were going to different tribes, killing them, that he decided to make it once a year, a day of Thanksgiving once a year.
True. But let me tell you about President Lincoln. Because Indians to Dakota, and Dakota Indians wouldn't give up. These are the people from Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, up in that area. They were fighting, and they captured in excess of 200 of them. And they wanted to hang them all. But Lincoln intervened, and he said, no, I don't want you to hang them all. Pick 38 of them. And that's how they came up with the Mankato 38. That was the largest mass hanging ever in this country.
If you want to talk about how Thanksgiving came up.
Hey, Roy, I got like two more because like other people got different perspectives than what he had. It's like similar but different.
Let him roll one more time all together.
Yeah, because that white part, that white man part, the white people he talking about is not the color of their skin. That was the status that they came with. These
Right,
these
because in Europe, royalty was called the ones in the white ones.
Yeah,
they used to wear all of the white. Right, the white with the gold fringe on it. That's an old European royal custom. Right? That's why they used to refer to them as white, but it had nothing to do with skin color.
Right.
It was about, right.
And Booker
T. They got to be called
Up for Slavery. And Up for Slavery, that book, bro.
Yeah. Then in Europe, they still wear what they call the Moorish brooch.
Okay.
Right. Those brooches are handed out by the royal families, the Moors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the people that wear them is their representative.
Yeah, that's right.
If they don't have a brooch on when they go to make certain transactions, they gonna get the business. Mm-hmm. But if they had a brooch on, they know that they representing one of those Amun, hidden, unknown, secret families. And they use the pale face.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to find the most attractive of them, but they don't be doing a good job from my perspective. But the ones, that's how they got to be called Jews. They wasn't called Jews biblically.
No.
That's a 1500s European designation. The ones who wear the Jews, the brooch, that tell you which one of the bloodlines they represent.
Right.
Them was your Jews, your converts. They all joined, Dr. Clark talked about that. They all joined, they chose to be Jews because the jihadists and the crusaders were warring. So the Khazarians converted to Judaism because they was trying to stay out of the war between the jihadists and the crusaders.
Yeah.
Right? Now, at the same time this going on, you got Templars. Mm-hmm. The Templars discovered texts of Hermetic texts that's ancient. Mm-hmm. They told them the real story and how to tap into certain frequencies in order to download the real story. So now they know that the Vatican lying.
Right.
So what do? The Vatican sent out a murder decree for all Templars. They end up killing. Right. So they end up killing. Uh-huh. Yeah. So they end up killing the leader of the Templars. Mm-hmm. His name was I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, when they start doing that, the Templars go underground. Mm-hmm. Right? But at the same time that's going on, you got another group of people who's an offshoot of a hybrid line between the original ones and the ones that came. Right? They took sides with the Earthborn.
Yeah.
Right? When they took sides with the Earthborn, the church called them loyalists. Right? And set them as stewards, and they carry the last name Stewart because of it.
Hey, so yeah, Roy, those guys, some of them knights had kids with children with some Native American women, and for example, that's how they get them knights betrayed the church and hid instead of because you remember Hernando Cortez when they came, he said when they start handing them all that gold, he said this too much gold for the Pope and too much gold for one king to have. And so he instead of taking all the gold back, they went and hid it, according to the story, on Nova Scotia Island. For a long time, it was hid there, right? And then I don't know it might be some alchemical connection, being that Nova Scotia is connected to the to Inanna and a define it goes all the way back. Being that these Templars had swore oath, like you said, they swore oath to protect the divine feminine. They found that out, and so I don't know if that's why the Pope put a hit on them, because when you come a Pope, they got to check you, make sure you got balls. They make you sit on a stool and check your ball and make sure you got balls, because it's some kind of so there had to be a women Pope at some point, and they covered it. I believe they covered it up, because why would you got to go check another man's balls to make sure he's a Pope? Make sure he's a man.
Listen, now, let me tell you about that part right there. The city is called Vatican City. Okay. It's the Pope sit under the sacerdotal seat, right? If a woman takes the sacerdotal seat, they reclaim the earth right there. So they're gonna do a gender check, make sure he got testicles.
Dang.
Because if he ain't got testicles, a eunuch can't sit on the seat either. Right? So they can't stop the matriarchy from taking her seat. They can block anybody trying to put her on her seat, though. That's why they see this under it as the supplanter. Yakabin. Right? In Hebrew, Yakabin, the supplanter, the undermaster, Yakub, Jacob.
Okay.
Right? So they have to keep from putting the woman back in her rightful place before they get done doing the dirt they came to do.
Man, I'm telling you.
Right? Now, the Vatican is named after Vatica. Vatica was one of the daughters of Isis.
Go ahead.
Europe was named after a different daughter named Europa.
Go ahead.
Right? And the twin sisters, which was the baby daughters of the Pharaoh, they was twins. One of them was like chocolate with freckles and auburn red hair, and the other one was buttermilk complexion with fiery red hair. And they called them Scotta and Scotia in the historical record. Right? And they were being pursued by another group of Catholic priests during the time of the slaughter of St. Patrick. When he killed all of the serpent priests, the Nagas priests from the land, and they say he killed all of the snakes on Ireland, a place that's historically no snakes has ever been known to inhabit. They've not found a fossil of a snake, nor have they found an imprint of where a snake might have been until recent times when people started taking them over as pets. So what snakes was he killing? If he killed all the snakes in Ireland, there wasn't no snakes. They was talking about the Nagas priests because the women wore a headband, a serpent band around their biceps, and the men wore a serpent band around his head.
Yeah, okay. I've seen it before.
And they was Twa. They was the Twa tribe.
That's right. I got a book on it, right?
The word Irish comes from the word Orisha.
I got a book on it.
Ireland is Orisha land. This is why over here, Bridget, Momma Bridget, is the buttermilk complexion Orisha.
Yeah.
Right? And the Catholic Church renamed her St. Bridget. But that's the bridge between the cultures. They settled the Appalachians. That's why some of them them families up in the hills with the red hair can trace their lineage back way further than 1492 on this land.
Right.
Right? Because they came a long time before. That's why the Irish was totally disrespected by the colonizers. You could see that as a scene in Roots where the Irish dude was sitting with the rest of the European and they was calling him all kind of trash.
Yeah, trailer park trash. They was the ones that got labeled as trailer park trash. Yeah, the Irish. The Irish are connected with us.
Right.
Like, especially
now,
the Mississippi and Clan. Yeah.
When we talk about blood types, a lot of their children got O blood.
Yep, that's right.
But they got fiery red hair and buttermilk skin.
Call them Black Irish. Yeah. Black
so
Irish.
when you see in that video, he was talking about the Pequot massacre.
That's what. Yeah.
That's not the dinner that they celebrate for Thanksgiving. That's the pumpkin harvest. I mean, turkey harvest. Remember, we had seasonal hunts to feed people all around the year. Right. Right before it get cold, we have the pumpkin festival, which you call it Halloween, and we have the turkey festival that they call Thanksgiving. When we invited the so-called pilgrims to a feast, we was already having. Roll the corn, Elder. Let's go. Let's watch some videos.
I forgot to tell you this though, Rod, because somebody verified something else you said earlier to me. I was talking to this older guy, and he told me something that was interesting. He's an old guy. He said that a long time ago, like just like you said, that those plantations were really Big Momma house. He said the clan mother. He called it the clan mother, and he said that during Thanksgiving they used to have a harvester, right? And he said that all the families would come and meet up at Big Momma house. Big Momma had the shotgun house, and she had the plantation set up. And he said that during around this time, when Big Momma do all the harvesting of the land, all the families would come in and meet at Big Momma house, and they would pass out the vegetables like to different families. Oh, you gonna get this amount of carrots. Even those families, whatever they grew on their farm, they brought too, and they changed it up. But mostly Big Momma distribute out all the families from that huge plantation farm all the food during this time, and then they left out. He said that's really what it was. It wasn't no it was that like it was a time when Big Momma gave out the harvest. That was a Thanksgiving. That was a Thanksgiving, but it turned in over years. It went into most stuff. But that's I'm
gonna go more into detail after we watch these next two clips.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do it. Let me play them clips.
Roll the corn.
All right, here we go.
Black people should never sell.
Because if you paid attention in school, it wasn't peaches and creams with the white man and the Indians. He tricked them. The Indians showed him how to grow food, how to eat, and the whole feast of Thanksgiving was them celebrating this massacre that they had done. So that's why we celebrate Thanksgiving home, because they killed off a bunch of Indians. Not only did they kill them off, they gave them blankets intentionally with diseases on them. Chicken pox, mumps. Yeah, homie, that's why we have to have immunization shots because of what they did to the Indians.
Yeah. Should black people, like, how Patti LaBelle did, should we, she made a bag off of Thanksgiving selling them patty pies. Should we look into this make money off this holiday?
Well, this is a capitalist country. Like the old say, nigga, every day you got to wake up and have something to sell in America. Nigga, everybody got something to sell to you. Only white people's stores are closed on Thanksgiving. You can still go to the Arab stores. You can still go to the Chinaman stores. Nobody else is shutting down, nigga, on the white boy holiday but the black boy and the white boy. So we follow white customs and white tradition. So I'm saying celebrating Thanksgiving. Go back to having you a once a month soul food Sunday. And you won't have to wait till once a year for you and your family to play like y'all really like each other and y'all ignore each other the whole year. Don't talk to each other. Y'all don't do nothing with each other. And hey, what's going on, kinfolk? Hey, y'all. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hey, Charles White said some heavy stuff. Hold on, let's go to the
Why,
next.
you are as civilized as we, except we wear shoes and have last names.
Here's the truth about Thanksgiving. The version you learned in school never actually happened. In 1621, the English settlers at Plymouth weren't celebrating anything. They were starving, sick, and facing the collapse of their colony. More than half of them had already died. The Wampanoag people, the original caretakers of that land, saw strangers struggling. And instead of letting them die, they shared food, taught farming techniques, and showed the newcomers how to survive the winter. That moment of generosity is the part people remember. But what followed is the part they never teach. The Wampanoag were repaid with broken treaties, stolen land, forced conversions, kidnappings, and waves of disease that devastated their communities. There wasn't a yearly feast. There wasn't a tradition of shared tables. There was a brief moment of peace, followed by decades of violence. But Native people aren't asking anyone to give up their holiday. They're asking people to understand the truth, to acknowledge the Wampanoag Nation, to remember the real history, and to recognize that gratitude, harvest, and community are indigenous values. Thanksgiving didn't start with pilgrims. It started with indigenous generosity. Honoring the truth honors the people who lived it.
That kind of time. What did you say, bro?
That was pretty accurate right there, Elder. Because
that time to what I'm saying about the big dude. The old man told me about meeting up at Big Momma house, and they used to give all the vegetables out during that one time.
So this how you know the difference that we was under matriarchal custom, because the patriarchs wanted to kill them.
Yeah.
They didn't want to feed them. They didn't want to coddle them. They just said, let's just kill them.
Right.
Big Momma vetoed it. Right. When Big Momma vetoed it, then look who's carrying all of the food stuff to the tribe. I mean, to the colonizers. Right. And mostly the women, because they the ones who is in charge of who get fed what and how much. The women in the kitchen that's working in the kitchen at Big Momma house, they are experts in how much food can carry a family of this many over the winter months when we got to go hunt big game now.
Right.
The hunting season is in effect because the calving season is up and we don't have to work the farms. Now we can go harvest the land for the big game animals.
Yeah.
Right. So when the big game animals come in, we used to distribute them on the winter solstice. This is where you get your Christmas dinner from that we was doing long before colonizer came. It was the winter solstice because it was the conclusion of several different big game hunts.
Right.
So we had to feed the people in the city from the farm. Everybody didn't want to live on the farm, and everybody didn't want to live in the city. Right. So the ones in the city took care of our advancements in technology and different stuff like that, were the ones that wanted to remain roaming the land. They the ones fed the ones in the city. They was responsible for upkeep of the land, management of the land and the resources, right? Big Momma was the one who said, okay, what do they need over there? She called it the mayor, the town mother.
Yeah, mayor.
And the town mother say, well, we doing this, and this, and so we gonna need this. So she's sending what they need. We didn't ever have to go to those grocery stores. Grocery stores not new. I mean, not, they relatively new. We had no grocery stores. We had no bag of chips. We had no bottles of soda. We gotta remember that. When we look in the history, we gotta take ourselves out of the modern lens to look at it from the lens of the times. Most of the stuff that we have around us with no radio or TV, internet, right? So all this stuff is ancient technology.
The Tartarian civilization. Before they came, it might have been.
Well, this is all the technology you see now is ancient. None of this ain't nothing new under the sun. The thing is when we had that nuclear winter, we called the last ice age.
Yeah.
And we went into a decline in population to a bare minimum.
Yeah.
So it was more about survival and rediscovering of the self as we expanded the population to repopulate the earth.
That's right.
Right? The same people that was here in the beginning. And we the same ones that are telling the story at the end. Because we was at the start of the story, we lived through the story, we came out the story, now we in the glossary showing you where all the highlights at. Right? So
hey, Rod. So do you think go ahead and finish it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, like these people, these dark skinned guys, when they came, they must have had some knowledge of biological warfare. To me, you know what I'm saying? To where they brought stuff that took us out, but it didn't take them out. Well, they was already immune to it, and so they gave us smallpox and all this, start wiping it. Like that was go ahead.
They already knew.
Devastating blow, man.
Yeah, but see, you gotta remember, they are pharmacists too. They make their own medicine just like they make their own disease. When they make a disease and get it to you, that's called putting a curse on you. Because disease gonna run its course. It's got a life cycle. And if your rate of recovery is not faster than the recovery of the life cycle of whatever they feeding you as a toxin, then it's going to cause your body to break down faster while they continuously reproducing. Right? That's what they come up with, understanding the viral infections.
That's crazy,
right? And so they did come with smallpox and different stuff in the blankets, right? They brought the Black Plague to Europe. They used the Black Plague as a means to cull the population of Europe.
Yeah, that's right.
Then they came back with the bubonic plague. Then they came back with the plague of listeria. It was culling the population. They was growing too fast, and they was not being educated and kept as well as they should have been because they was growing too fast. Right? So they had to cull the population. That's where you get all your pandemics from. They all are playing.
Yeah, dang, that's crazy.
Look, you got an invisible virus or an invisible parasite or bacteria. You can't see it with the naked eye. How they know it's all over the world?
Right.
How you know how long it take for it to get all over the world if you ain't putting it there?
Right.
Because you can't see it with the naked eye, so you can't watch it spread. Then how do you know exactly how to treat it as soon as it come out and it just came out?
They got the patent.
Yeah, why are the patent numbers on your diseases?
Well,
and people getting dividend checks for it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? So it's not new. They talk about it in Egypt, but they call it pestilence.
And famine.
When they do certain, they call it plagues and pestilence, but all it is biochemical warfare.
Right.
They talk about it in the Sumerian tablets. Right? You got several different types of death wind. One of them just brings sickness to the land. Right? And the other one can desolate the land. Radiation. So they got either biochemical weapon or they use a radiation weapon. And by what we know from how, like they think we've had war. We ain't had no war. We had some skirmishes. That ain't no war. Because if you could remember when we was fighting in them Vermontis wars, you would understand what war looked like. Those skirmishes, World War I, II, III, them was skirmishes. There wasn't no war. right? So right now, all we doing is posturing for war. Those are just skirmishes. And then most of them is done for culling the population anyway. They send your children to war to die in wars so they can cull the populations to manage the growth of the people. If they start growing up too fast in one area, you take that people to war. Right? You get their numbers to a manageable level and you lift the poverty from them, they'll stop growing so fast.
That's
because they'll be enjoying the luxury of life now. You be,
They ain't
be
the
buying.
earthborn thinking, though, right? That's a reptilian. That's off world. That ain't no way we think. The earthborn.
No, this is just what they doing.
Yeah.
This is what they doing. They not from here. Look,
That's
when
right.
they tell you about the war in heaven, what happened to Satan after the war in heaven? It never ended. It just changed location. Remember, Michael and his angels, right? Remember the story? Went to war with the dragon and his angels.
That's right.
And they say Michael struck him a mighty blow and rent him to the earth.
That's right.
He landed on earth. How we know this? Because they put a tower there to commemorate where he fell in the city of Isis, the Eiffel Tower. Paris is the Parthenon of Isis, which means the great city of Isis. That's the home of the sacerdotal seat. But the proxy is that the Eiffel Tower is in France, Huguenots. And Huguenots sent us the Statue of Liberty under Masonic pretenses. Yeah, remember, all these people was some form of Mason Shriner, right? So they following a certain pattern in the code.
That's right.
If you know the pattern in the code, you can follow their footsteps. Right? So now, when they bring these people over here, they look like us, but they not us.
Right.
Then they marrying into our families in order to shift the ownership of the property from matriarchs, our custom, to the patriarchs, they customs.
Yeah.
Under the matriarchy, you can't sell the land. Nobody can buy it. Under the patriarchy, it's all for sale.
That's crazy. Hey,
This is a
bro.
different cultural phenomenon.
Now, my next question for you, man. This is a heavy duty one, man. And this some people they don't know this. You know, my granddad, he ain't know this. I ain't know it at the time. Okay, so the guy who put the play on us initially with the Pilgrim, the Plymouth Rock guys, is King James, the guy that put the Bible together. We talked about this before, but a lot of brothers in the class and the non-Nubian brothers who are preaching. No, I'm guilty myself. I like the King James version because that's the one that my granddad, everybody was using. Even Doc liked the King James version. But the whole time, later on, we figure out King James is the one that sent the play on us, man, with the Virginia Company, man. Go ahead, Rod. Did you go in on that a little bit?
Well, that's why you got Jamestown, Virginia.
Yeah, right.
Right. So that's who. So you remember, the British are coming. The British are coming. Right. That's the gentry. It's another whole separate group. They got the Virginia Trading Company, the Northwest Trading Company. They got the New England Company. All of them is the different gentry. Right. They the English equivalent of Huguenots or conquistadors. Remember, this was a multilateral attack on the tribes of the land.
Man.
This is how we had to end up migrating. If you watch the migration patterns leading up to 1492, you see all these tribes is moving south and then they going east. But then after you get a ceasefire agreement, they tell you it was an industrial revolution. It wasn't an industrial revolution. They say people was leaving the South to go get jobs. That's partially true. But the other part of it that they didn't tell you is they went back home to get a job, to where their tribe was at before the colonizer came for the war.
That's right.
So now you see them all going back home, the different tribes, right? But when they get back home, they find that these people that call themselves cavalrymen, that's U.S. military, is blocking their passage back to their original homeland. So now you got the Nation of Bloods, who's supposed to be in Canada, stranded in L.A. with the Crips, who's supposed to be in Northern California, but they stranded in L.A. with the Bloods because neither one of them remember where they supposed to be.
Wow.
They just know they woke up there and they don't know why the hell they in the wrong place. And it make them act a certain way, according to the culture. It created a swag that's unmistakable. We call it the LA swag. Right? And so the tribes, the Blood Nation is a federally recognized tribe with their own reservation, and they just populated it with pale-faced $5 Indians. Because they don't want the real tribe to go back home. Because then they remember more from where they originally from. Many of the past lives memories come flooding back because it's like unlocking the lock. So you see us shuffling around on the land. We ain't staying nowhere longer than 3 generations. We got to get up and move after that because we got to find where the bloodlines come from. We going to psychically be aware because our brain going to turn on more and more as we get back home.
Hey, Rod. So based on that, we know about the slaughter, the Pequot slaughter, about how the one about we helping them. We helped them first, then they came and that's the same tactic. They did that more than once. We helped them, but somebody said, I think it was Doc. Somebody said that if we wouldn't have helped them, they would have been extinct over here. They if like we would have just left them, they would have went extinct because every time
the war chiefs wanted them dead.
Yeah.
The matriarchs vetoed it. Remember, I told you that. The war chiefs wanted them dead because they knew what was coming, but the matriarch had to always give you a chance to bump straight. Patriarchs don't have to do that. They warriors. They come for the blood.
That's it, right? Yeah.
Right, but they still, you gotta have some kind of governmental balance. Right. We just a lot of them didn't understand the strategy they was using was to overwhelm us from hitting us on so many different fronts so fast with superior firepower.
Right.
Right, because we didn't have guns over here. Because we didn't believe in using those types of weaponry. So when they came, they had the advantage. They had muskets.
Right.
But when we got a hold of it, we started encasing bullets. Because we understand physics too. Right? So they started rewriting the history while they was going through the history.
Let me roll some more clips, man. I got some more hot shit, man.
Why you are as civilized as we, except.
Here's the truth about Thanksgiving.
Let me talk about misgiving for a minute, all right? Got a second on that? Why do I call it Misgiving Day? A celebration of horrors. Because first of all, the good pilgrim fathers that you hear so much about were actually homeless people looking for somewhere to stay. Not that there's anything evil about that, because there's a lot of good people out there that's homeless today. But these suckers have been thrown out of Europe and were considered to be criminals. They didn't come over here to bring the benighted heathen the gospel dispensation and introduce them to Jesus. They got some money to get the ship, the Speedwell and the Mayflower, and the people who put up the money said, look, when you get there, send us back first all you can take, and whatever else you can take to pay this money back, and we can make a profit off this venture. Well, Speedwell didn't make it, only Mayflower got in. And as Will Rogers said, white man said, the Pilgrims got off the Mayflower, hit the shore, fell on their knees, and thank God, got up and fell on the Indians. And that's exactly what they did. Look at here, brothers and sisters. I want you to check this out a minute, man. I know some of you already know this, but probably most of you already know this. Now, Dr. Felder and the Spirit, the books are all everywhere. But it not hurt us to go over it again, because every year you go over to George Washington and chop down a cherry tree, which was absolutely never told a lie, which was a lie. You can't be a general without practicing deception. Diversionary tactics is a lie. You're making a person think you're over there when you're over there. That's a lie. You can't say this man never told a lie. I mean, generals have to lie to win wars. And he won very few. Didn't win any, actually, until the black folks got in there, but that's another story. And I'm not proud of that either. But check this out. These people come here now. They dock outside on the ship, the Mayflower, and 42 men of the 120 some odd people they have aboard, 130, 42 white males make a compact to decide what is going to happen in this land. They didn't ask anybody who was living here what was going to happen. They decided it. The white male ego decided it. Not that I'm letting the female off the hook, because I ain't. She spawns them, produces them, nurtures them. They get here, they're hungry, they're starving, they don't know what to do to survive. And who welcomes them? Even after the Columbus experience, who welcomes them? The indigenous red man. Come on in, brother. We'll feed you, we'll take care of you. He does it for a year. When that year is up, the Pilgrims go back out to their ship. After building them a log cabin, they put a cannon on top of that log cabin that is directed at the Indian village. I'm just using that term for convenience, because I don't like the term. I'm just using that for convenience right now. In 1621, they had their first Thanksgiving celebration for having survived, and Governor Bradford of the Massachusetts colony wrote that most, over 40, some of them had died, and scarcely 5 or 6 remained sane who was there. The rest of them were totally crazy, mad. He wrote that. That's documented. It's out the archives, and the United States government got it. By the next celebration of Thanksgiving, this is what took place. It was the red man who brought the venison and brought the turkey and all those things. You see these things with the pilgrim and his stove-type hat and stuff, and bell gun, and then the turkey smiling, walking beside him, and the Indians flipping and dancing because he's so happy this white man then brought him God and Jesus. You sat in the classroom just like I did. When they would talk about the pilgrim with tears running down your eyes, the poor pilgrim. I'm quoting in that prolific historian and writer, Professor Joel A. Rogers here. And he says that the early American whites were cruel. Connecticut whites massacred the Pequot Indians. Infants were torn from their mother's breast and hacked to pieces. The heads of the parents were chopped off and kicked about in the streets. Maybe where the Thanksgiving Thursday football game comes from. Governor Bradford wrote, "It was a fearful sight to see them frying in the fire, and streams of blood quenching the same, and terrible was the stench and the stink thereof. But the victory seemed a sweet sacrifice, and they, the whites, gave praise thereof to God. I don't think I need to say any more about Misgiving Day now. That was enough for me. They were some of the lowest, most degenerate people. They sent over here to these colonies were mostly criminals. They emptied out Newgate Prison, Oxford Gaol, and a whole bunch of others there. The daughters of the American Revolution were whores, prostitutes, and harlots sent over here. That's what they spawned America with. And you wonder why the American government, even today, in 1991, can't do right? They have a criminal element in them. Why they can't keep crime cooled out? Because they are criminals. They're probably more tolerant of crime than any other nation in the world. Because in their subconscious, they know what their history goes back to. Billy the Kid and all those criminals, Jesse James were their heroes. All criminals. Ponce de Leon and Pizarro, hero, criminals, committing genocides against people. So that's enough about me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that brother there went off, bro. That brother there was saying so hit. But I don't think about
That's
it.
Yeah. That's Barry Shango. His name Barry Shango. Look, he got a book called The African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel.
Yeah, that's
when I read that, I got everything I could get my hands on by him. I had cassette tapes of him, lectures. He went over the whole thing pretty much because we was all every year, right?
Yeah.
We have resources that be allocated to certain people by the number of people they got to feed. In the wintertime is the harshest time of the year, so you have to give out more food than you would in the summertime.
Mm.
Right? Because people sitting there idle, you know what I'm saying? If they start losing weight, they suffer hypothermia. So you want to keep weight on them. So you used to cook in a cauldron. At Big Momma house, they cooked in cauldrons. They had rows of cauldrons because there'd be so many people coming through. And they used to have containers with corks on the top for canning. Then they put food stuff in those containers. The people in the north can take those containers and leave them outside all winter long. Right? Because they designed for the cold climate anyway, for storing food. The people in the more southern regions, they used to put them in the river. They stayed cold by keeping them in the river. Right? And we had a whole, everything was tied to the land. Right? Even our technology, it was harmonious to the land. From the ringing of the bells. Shout out to LL. Rock your bells. Bells make your energy escalate. Sort of musical fury LL might detonate. Subject matter entitled The Bells. No classical finale is parallel. Right? The bells. That's what we're talking about. The tribes that used to use the bell, they cracked the Liberty Bell on purpose because it can't ring at the proper pitch. Right? And the symbol on the crack is the lightning bolt, which is supposed to represent Enlil. Right? And to stop the crack from spreading, they put a screw in the lightning bolt. Right? You gotta pay attention. They don't do nothing without a reason.
Right.
Right. So the screw is to stop it from spreading. It's also to alter the pitch. Right. Yeah. Because if you can stop it from spreading, it's gonna lock you into a sound. The bolt got weight density to it too. It's gonna affect what the sound like, what it's gonna sound like. It's got its own material structure. Right. So it's going to alter the pitch. Right. And a cracked Liberty Bell means that the liberty of the people has been broken.
Right.
So now we got to restore the Liberty Bell. But the Liberty Bell is a Southern bell. The Southern bell is the lady of the South.
Go ahead, Rod. You dropped some shit right here.
The lady of the South is the Speaker of the House in the Long House in the Iroquois Confederacy. The Speaker of the House is actually the ruler of the people. The president just governed the military in order to maintain the balance and control of the people. When the Speaker of the House is not the proper Speaker of the House, that shows you that your land has been usurped. The true Speaker of the House is the lady of the South we call Big Momma, Madear. Right?
That's right.
The grand matriarch of all families, they got different names. Nana. Right? Ma.
Right.
Right? So we got different terms we call them. But it boiled down to the same thing. The lady of the South, what's the slogan of the rebel flag? The rebel flag is the Chickamauga Nation flag that was lended to the Continental Congress of the South. They gave birth to the United States of America.
Yeah.
By trickery and deception, theft and deceit. So when they say the South shall rise again, that means the Queen of the South shall restore herself to her throne.
Mm-hmm.
That means she got to come from the South to the North in order to take it all back. All she got to do is sit in the last active sacerdotal seat of the tribes of the land, aka the Philadelphia Congress Hall. Congress is the meeting of the mayors. The mayors is the matriarchs.
Right.
They all come in to vex their grievance and complaint to Big Momma. But when the elders put the curse on the lives, they can't do business out of there no more, lest they suffer calamity in every venture. So now they got to move to DC. Switch the capital because they can't be in the proximity of the true sacerdotal seat of the land, because Big Momma gonna come back and you better not be sitting on her chair when she get there. Because she done already told you, and Big Papa don't play that shit. So it's gonna get enforced. And so they play it all out in political satire. They tell us in the movies. They tell us in the books and in the music. When we write our own music, we tell our own story. Right? When we understand what one of the elders is telling us through the music, through the art, through the entertainment, we able to talk in their face behind their back like they doing us with their FBI, CIA code and press.
Right.
You looking at the tragedy on the front page, they looking at the kill order, who they about to go murder next. You seeing the tragedy of the day, they looking at the tragedy of tomorrow while you looking at the tragedy of the day. Because you don't know what they telling their sleeper cells. They give them all cutouts. That's why you got people like just pop up out of nowhere and got a whole life just so perfect. Ain't no motherfucking perfect. Ain't no perfect. Everybody life, you got to have your vicissitudes, your ups and your downs. You're going to leave an impression and a mark somewhere. Just by being who you is. Unless you a no account, ain't shit NPC.
Hey, Rod, why? I thought you finished. Go ahead.
Go ahead with the question, Elder.
I was gonna say, man, like these people, like they want to control the monetary system, and so in the front guys that they use, like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, why they so loyal to these dark-skinned guys? And even after they kill some of these dark-skinned guys, put hits on their people, like they shot their people, like Kennedy. The Kennedys ain't when
Kennedy was Irish first and foremost, descendant of Scotta. He was marked to death when he didn't do what his father promised that he would do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about the backdoor dealings between the different factions. Their loyalty comes from the power or the perceived power that it look like they have.
Mm-hmm.
So now they can go about power tripping with false power.
Right.
Because the people who really got the power have been subdued by giving them misinformation in their youth. They retrained all of the people. The science is called sociology. Right? The instructions is in the protocols of Zion.
Yep, I got it.
The rollout is in the morals and dogma. It's all telling the same trajectory of the story. The plan, all of that stuff was derived from the KJV. Right? So that means that they made a plan, the most violent, bloody oath of the papacy. Remember?
Yeah. Kill off the prince
And
of the
then
land.
they made a secret oath. Right? We all know what the secret oath is, right?
The oath to
How they was gonna control us on the land.
Yeah. The Jesuits, all of them, yeah.
Okay, now they got secret oaths, they got bloody secret plans, and we ain't included to inform us of none of this. It's all secret from us. Why would we be the target of the secrecy? We the ones that they don't want to know the secret. Why they don't want us to know the secret? It must be more value to our presence than they leading us to believe. Deductive reasoning comes into play and start asking questions.
Yeah.
So let's say I discovered a secret and I know what they agreements they made. Now I gotta find a motive. Why would somebody do that to us? All of the stuff they did to us, why would they do it? Because you can only take the people's birthright by two means: conquest or surrender.
You ain't surrender.
Conquest or surrender. You can't take nobody else's birthright unless without going through a military conquest.
Yeah.
Certainly that you're more superior than them through warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's domination. Or they don't want the birthrights because it comes with responsibility they don't want. So they can surrender the birthright. Now, without nobody telling us any of that, the popes made the papal decrees that nobody can tell us about our birthright. We're going to keep that birthright from them, and we're going to be the executor of the state.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's an orchestrated plan that plays out like of somebody telling the fairy tale story. When you look back at it in retrospect. From your Adolf Hitler Jewish ass, the one they showing us being a Hollywood real actor.
Look alike. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that he wasn't even a lookalike. He was just a real actor. An actor that used to tell the news. They used to make what they call newsreels. And they were put on, that's where your first movies were. Basically newsreels. And they hired this dude. He was a vaudeville actor. That's why he wear the mustache. That's how you're supposed to know it's a parody.
Yeah.
Because the vaudeville mustache means it's a parody. He not the real person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if it's a parody and he not the real person, why would they keep that information from us? They don't want us to know what the real person look like. Why would they want to keep his appearance secret from us? Right? Yeah. So so we know that the greatest orators. Adolf is in the top. He in the top 5 greatest orators ever. But when you listen to the translation with the same emotion added to the AI translation of it, it's uncanny. You gotta like, this is a brother right here. This is a nigga. Cause he be talking the same stuff. He sounded like Malcolm X talking in German.
Yeah, it's all do. When you think about it, some of his speeches, when you translate them, it got like that same feeling. Hey, this is my next question for you, Mark. Go ahead. You don't. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, but he was still so-called Jewish. He related to the Rothschilds, I think.
There was one that was funding them.
Yeah, he was taught how to act by a guy named Rubles. Rubles was a Jew. He was financed by another Jew. Right. So if he's financed by Jews, taught how to play his part by Jews, and his mama had a baby by a Jew, then what'd that make him?
Right.
The story not matching. Here's the question. Why would all the Jews in the world allow 6 million Jews to be put to death? Why would they do that? Because they had to let it happen. Well, why would they let it happen? They own people.
So they can gain sympathy from the UN to get that they steal somebody else's land. That's what somebody else said.
No, there wasn't no UN yet.
I know it. They use that later to gain sympathy, though.
They already been looking for the sympathy. You got the Balfour Declaration from World War I.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All of the biggest bankers in the world at the time supposed to be Jewish.
Right.
They financing Winston Churchill in England. They financing Adolf Hitler in Germany. They financing France. Right. They the ones that's the central banks to all of these places. Adolf Hitler's complaint was that the central bank was breaking or bankrupting the people in the community.
That's right.
We've been taken advantage of because the power of the central bank has been so played down and normalized that we would never know that they was the main source of our problems. So when you follow the money trail back, start at the Federal Reserve, right? Who owned the Federal Reserve?
The people are bankers in London.
Right. Well, nobody over here owns the bank, the Federal Reserve. So if nobody over here owns the Federal Reserve, why are they here? And if we have a U.S. Treasury, why do we need a Federal Reserve?
Right.
And why is it a signature from the Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of the Federal Reserve on the dollar?
Exactly. That's true.
What is these people telling us? Right? So the Federal Reserve is the people who's printing the money. The FRNs, Federal Reserve notes, are being printed by the Federal Reserve. Now, only Congress, according to the Constitution, has the right to authorize the printing and stamping of money. So if the Federal Reserve is a foreign corporation and Congress is allowing a foreign corporation to do our banking, right?
They all get
then that means we got sold out right there. At that point, we sold out right now.
off the top.
As soon as that takes place, we sold out. So this is why they declared the people of the land as the enemy. They have to declare war on us in order to assert the claim for conquest. Now, there got to be a condition by which you can determine if the conquest is successful or unsuccessful, whether the surrender has in fact happened or didn't happen. It got to be a way to know that, right? How you going to know if they won by conquest? It's military strategy. The one who can strategize the maneuvers with the least amount of bloodshed is victorious in the end. Their hands have got too much blood on them for them to win. And the blood on our hand that they manipulated us into collecting for them is really on their hand. Right? So the Federal Reserve has the IRS as what we call a tax collection, or not a debt collection agency. The IRS is also not part of the country, not part of the government of the people. Had nothing to do with us. Right? But if they get you to fill out a paper that you're willing to participate in a corporate fraud, then they'll let you pay them taxes. Notice I said let you pay them taxes.
Voluntary compliance is what they call it.
Yep. They're going to let you pay them taxes so that you can look like an upstanding member of a corporation called the Federal Reserve. Doing business as a DBA as the United States Inc. Right? The United States Inc. is a fictitious corporation layover that's pretending to be our government while our government is fast asleep. We know this because when we look at the follow the money, the more we pay in taxes, the more economic aid relief they give to the rest of the world, and they're not doing nothing about none of our problems here.
Right.
You can't solve the problems at home if you ain't if you're trying to destroy the home. You got to leave as many problems unsolved as you can in order to ensure the destruction of home. So they need all of our roads, bumpy road, raggedy roads. They got better technology, better materials. They're not using none of that because everything is skyrocketing in price because the Federal Reserve came over and adjusted the interest rate. And that told you how much taxes you're going to have to pay this year, which also tell all of the other people how much they got to charge in order to break even.
Damn.
Which gave us something called inflation.
Yeah.
Right? Now, on the top side, they killing you with inflation. That's financial evaporation.
Right.
You'll never see that currency again. Then on the back end, they're hitting you with taxation without representation.
Cause cold.
And if they're hitting you with the taxation on the back end, right, they chopping your legs off. You'll never get ahead in their system because it's designed for you to never get ahead. The remedy is every problem got a remedy. The remedy is get out their system. Let it fall. Let it collapse. Now, when you track your tax dollars through the IRS, because you want to know if the money that you give in IRS goes to the government. All of the checks that the IRS write in your name, they go to a place called the IMF and the World Bank.
Yeah. And it's a monetary fund.
Where in the hell that's at? over in Switzerland.
Yep.
Right? They are controlled by what's called the Scottish banking systems, which is the Bank of Scotland with the red flannel flag. And the Bank of Scotland is a representative of the Khazarian bankers stationed in Geneva, Switzerland, and around Switzerland and other parts. But the biggest majority of them lived under the Alps and the tunnel systems. Since been cleared out, now they're doing tours. Right? So now you trace the money all the way back to the dirty players.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you trace the colonizers that came when they first came, they didn't bring pale faces with them.
No.
So who would we fighting if we wasn't fighting pale faces for that first 160 years we was fighting? And they was calling themselves conquistadors, Huguenots, and gentry. But they look like us.
Hey, Roy, I got one more question for you before we take questions from the crowd. We got about 30 minutes left. Now, some dude left a comment on the Muhammad Gaddafi page channel. I mean, the Muhammad Gaddafi tape that I put out, and he says the curse have finally hit America. Right? He was some dude overseas. He said America has been around killing all of these guys, allegedly killing all these leaders for trying to cut the Western powers and international monetary banking systems off. And he said the curse have finally hit America with Trump. So, and I noticed they used the word coup. Like when they said like this African guy got overthrown, it was a coup to overthrow him. It was a coup, or he started a coup to overthrow the prior guy, right? So, do you think that the Trump administration was a coup to overthrow the rogue government that's pretty much been that has stolen our country? Because he's been shot at just like the rest of the guys who So is Trump and his campaign a coup to overthrow the bad government?
It's actually more a counter coup.
A counter coup, okay.
See, we gotta remember the coup was established by George Herbert Walker Bush way back during the assassination of JFK in collaboration with LBJ.
Okay.
Okay. It was what you call the long game or the long kind.
Okay.
There's a lot of moving pieces, and you got to be a master manipulator and a master chess player to play.
Yeah.
George Herbert Walker Bush was under a cutout character of the CIA as an oil tycoon.
I can see that.
But he came from a banking family, the Prescotts.
Right.
Right. The name became Bush to conceal the Prescott banking dynasty connected to the family that's also tied to the international banking community.
And
that's siphoning all of the money out of our land.
Yeah.
Okay, now when you so the Bush laid the plot down, and when they got 3 knocks to a conclusion, but first he got to get into the position of ultimate power, right? The only way he could do that, he had to occupy the top government seat in the land. He had to wrestle control of the military from any civilian. How are you going to do that? When he was selected for VP, he wasn't the choice that Ronald Reagan originally wanted. He originally wanted a senator out of Michigan named Monahan. And but during the Republican National Convention, they just brought George Bush out and said this is his running mate, former director of the CIA.
Damn.
Just like that.
That's
So now he's the running mate Ronnie. And now Ronald Reagan had made all of these premises for UFO disclosure, economic stability. They call it Reaganomics now. He made all these campaign promises, but the promise that brought George Bush in was the Iran-Contra. The purpose of Iran-Contra, not Iran-Contra, Iran hostage crisis. The purpose of the Iran hostage crisis, now remember, Ronald Reagan was running against Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
In his first campaign. Jimmy Carter, after the Iran-Contra, looked so damn weak to the people. They wanted somebody with some balls in office to go back and get the people that's supposed to be hostages of Iran.
Right.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think they supposed to got captured in Lebanon. But in real life, they was in Arizona in the desert. All that was made up.
Say, damn, boy, they cold. They want some cold suckers, boy.
But they created the whole Iran hostage crisis in order to conceal the Iran-Contra crisis, which was the guns for drugs. It was a flash misdirection, but it got George Herbert Walker Bush in office as vice president. Now he had to do the ultimate takeover. He got to assassinate Ronnie. So when you look at John Hinckley Jr., they say it shot Ronald Reagan, and you look at Jeb Bush, and you tell me you ain't looking at two brothers. Something is wrong.
That's crazy.
Because they don't use outsiders to do family business, first off, of that magnitude. Right? So John Hinckley Jr. is the CIA asset. And they was able to use the insanity defense to give him a chance to get out of prison. Because when you kill the president, it's supposed to have been a certain, when you shoot at the president and try to kill him, or if you kill him, it's supposed to be automatic death, public hanging or public beheading. You're not supposed to be tried by a civilian court. You're supposed to be tried by JAG. The president is the highest ranking military official. If you kill or attempt to kill the highest ranking military official, you're not an enemy of the state. You're an enemy of the military. And the military can seize your ass and put you in JAG court, which goes back to the coup, the counter coup. So George Bush set in place a series of presidential runs that was supposed to secure all of the land for him to be King George. The Senate bill he passed that made him king was talked about in Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. Right? Now, as he go into this thing, the first knock in the three knocks to a finish was the first World Trade Center bomb where the dude was doing salat while they was making the bomb.
Yeah.
And then they blew a big old hole in the basement. Right? Second knock was the Oklahoma City bombing. Right?
Right.
And then the third knock was where? Back to 9/11.
10 towers, yeah.
Now, if you look at the space, they spaced almost evenly apart. 5 years apiece. That's three knocks to a finish. That's a major coup about to happen. The coup was intercepted under Barack Obama. That's when they had that situation at the White House with the guy named Petraeus trying to kill Obama. He was trying to stop the coup. Hillary Clinton is an asset of George Herbert Walker Bush. William Jefferson Clinton is an asset of George Herbert Walker Bush. And you know, George W. Bush is the son of George Herbert Walker Bush. Right now, Clinton is the biggest drug dealer in Arkansas history.
That's right. Cocaine.
Yep, he was his CIA code named Snowman. Then you have the Jackal, the rogue element. This is Barack. Barack is the Jackal. Who is the Jackal? That's Damien, the son of the Jackal. Rosemary's baby. She gave birth to a jackal. Omen 3, Damien was father dug up and it was the bones of a jackal. The Antichrist. Right? The one who's supposed to try to take over in the end. The clone of Akhenaten. Trying to take the father's place in order to prevent the son, Tutankhamun, from rising to his throne. You already had your turn. In stepped the intervention. The spiritual intervention of the masters that keep the royal house straight. The Magus. The mystics. The Pharaoh's magicians. The Hecamasters. In order to tell the prince how to ascend to become the king. Heru, this is what must be done if you was to sit as Usir. The Usirian resurrection. Put the great mother back on her seat. That's it. That's all you got to do. The rest will take care of itself. How do you do that? You tell her where the sacerdotal seat is and you tell her you ain't got to do nothing else because she's going to go sit in there on her own. You just got to tell her where it's at. And tell her what'll happen if she sit there. So when I found Big Momma, I told her where to sit and I told her what's going to happen when she sit there. Right? But while all this is going on, we are mounting a counteroffensive.
That's right.
And our counteroffensive has to be something that all tribes have in common. No matter which part of the land they're from. And that one thing is the oral tradition.
That's it.
That oral tradition is how we get the communication across the land about our status, about our who we are, and that we got visitors on the land and it's time to send their ass on packing. So once we all get the message out, we all woke up with 50 enemies plotting my death. All 50 seeing visions of me shot in the chest. Couldn't rest. No, man, I was stressed. Right? 50 states. Flip 50 cent. Flip big 50. Off 250 bone. 7 on the dominoes.
Hey, y'all. Hey, drop them. Hey, if you got any questions about what we talked about or any other questions, hey, drop them in the chat for Chief, man.
For the people that's asking about the Cash App, right? We just dropped it on the screen for you. Hey, y'all want to show Chief some love for the class tonight? We got his Cash App on the screen. Everybody send him $5. We got 2,000 people on right now. See 1,500. But yeah, everybody send him $5. If you can't send him that, send him $1, man. Put him in the game. If you a baller and you a big timer, man, and you getting it like that, man, send him 100. Send him a C note, man. We call them C notes, man. Send him a big face, big blue face, man. Hey, drop them questions in the chat, y'all. Hey, hit that like if you just not coming in. Hit that like, man. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, man. We dropping them but heat.
It says we heard about the giant structure under the Giza. Yeah, they just found it. I heard them about them digging that up.
Look, they just telling us they found that. They've been knowing that the whole time because it's in the hieroglyphics. They got the hieroglyphic with the same form in the hieroglyphic as situated beneath the pyramid.
Yeah.
They call them the Jed pillars. They've been knew it was there. The thing that this is the close of the age. So certain stuff that has been concealed, they have to confess its secrecy to the public. Right? This is a part of the awakening because all of the concealed information is supposed to add to whatever's in the individual's subconscious mind to aid his awakening.
You heard about the assassination attempt on Candace Owens? I heard about that. You heard about that, right?
Hey, look, it's a brother that did a lecture. He was a professor in New York at a university, and he told them to read in his class, his literature class or history class. He was using the book printed by the nation called Secret Relations Between Blacks and Jews. Man, he was getting the business just like Candace Owens. It was just as bad for him. I think he's still living, but he might not be, but I think he's still living. And I think he's still teaching. But he went to war with him. And he got a book, he got books out about it. What's that brother name?
They said that it was a Jewish coup against that girl. I heard about that today. I ran across it today. I think that there was a coup against her to assassinate her, and they actually gave the Pacific family that was trying to put a hit on her. But I was like, man, why would they want to hit her though? Like, she just like but she kind of like a Charlie Kirk type of person. Like, she, you know how she speak out or whatever, how Charlie Kirk was speaking out, even though we know that was all a bunch of wag the dog anyway, but it's kind of like on the same thing to me, like when you see Candace Owens and how these people want to whack her, like what she said a lot of stuff, but she ain't saying nothing that ain't
his name Tony Martin.
Go ahead.
He wrote a book called The Jewish Onslaught.
Okay.
In The Jewish Onslaught, it's telling you about the war. Now, mind you, he ain't talking about no pink Jews.
Right.
And the pressure that they putting on him, he documented it all, and he put out that book, Jewish Onslaught. But it was triggered because he had we wanted them to read Secret Relations Between Blacks and Jews in class. That was part of their homework. Well, the ADL protested. When he pushed back, the JDL stepped in.
Tried to put a book on, get him out of here.
All right, so his experience is all in the book called The Jewish Onslaught. His name Tony Martin. Now, the Secret Relations Between Blacks and Jews first came out. All of the so-called rabbis around the world was up in the uproar, and they was calling the anti-Semitic. And the thing that made them have to shut up is all of the references is in the book was Jews. So you saying, by saying what the Jewish writers of the last 200-300 years, 500 years then said and did, now it's anti-Semitic because I'm saying what y'all said.
Right.
That's absurd. The absurdity of it all.
Right. We quoting Jewish writers that's saying it, so it ain't us.
Jasmine Crockett, she's just like she's just to take the heat. She's just there to take the heat. Just all of these people that's in place right now is a part of a theatrical performance of political satire used to occupy the masses while the awakening takes place in the background. The ones who stuck on the mainstream media networks and only get their information from there, them is just the regular old Joes, NPCs. They might not never wake up. But some of them need a certain amount of us to wake up in order for them to wake up.
Somebody said, can Chief speak on them telling military not to respond to illegal orders from Trump? Illegal orders?
Listen, Trump is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States of America. He is not the governmental seat. He's the military leader. Those senators and congressmen only can govern, meaning they can only examine bills and pass them into law or not. They don't got no say in what the military do. And the president only need to consult them as if he's planning on declaring open warfare on a foreign nation. He don't need their permission to prevent insurrections. He don't need their permission to stop a coup. And anybody the reason why the Democrats appear to be doing that foolishness is because they're trying to trigger the fallout of all of the ones that's gone so that the disclosure can take place. Right? Because what they doing is seditious activity. If you know what sedition is, that's exactly what they doing. Because if the president is fighting a coup attempt to take the government and to control the people in the government by a foreign agency or entity acting as domestic agencies, and they trying to interfere with that, that make them guilty of sedition, which is undermining the operation of the government and the president from securing the government from foreign influence and foreign agents securing the government in the coup attempt. Barack Obama was a foreigner.
Right.
His birth certificate was a forgery. He wasn't raised in America. He's one of the boys from Brazil from the Akhenaten breeding program ran by the Third Reich. Welcome to the Fifth Reich. Because he was the fourth. But the thing being is, it didn't work the way that they thought that it would work because they tried to secure power from a person who had already had their reign. At the close of the age, if you already had your turn, you're not eligible to get another bite at the apple unless you win it by conquest.
You heard anything about that, Rod? Oh, go ahead. I thought you was finished. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Somebody said that you. I wonder if y'all heard anything about the Indian brother who was being charged with killing a sheriff deputy in a state. He's American Indian. I ain't never heard. My first time hearing.
I haven't heard about it.
I'm gonna go look into it. Let me write it down. I go check on that when we get off.
Look, they raided a reservation. The FBI did back in '75 because the reservation Indians were starting to organize based on the so-called Black Power movement.
Yeah.
So they was setting up similar and allied organizations on the reservations. So they sent the FBI in there back in '75 to call the natives from forming their own governing themselves like militant style.
Yeah.
Well, in the end up, the feds shot one dude and he shot two feds. And then they end up bringing in a whole big shootout took place. It was horrible. But they took the tribal reservation Indians to jail.
Right. For murder.
Yeah,
Some
that ain't
murder.
even counting the Leonard Peltier. Did all that damn time for standing up for what's right.
Didn't he get pardoned by Biden?
Yep. Nope. He got pardoned by Trump, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Trump first administration when he pardoned him.
Okay. Somebody says a Moshel. Yeah, I heard a lot about it. I just saw so much evidence on that.
Man, look, that question right there is like old news for us. It's fascinating for somebody that's just coming into the wake, and it don't mean nothing to us.
Yeah.
It's more than one Michelle Obama, and yes, several of them are men.
How many great resets have we had?
Look, we've been doing this since we have no restriction of time. Right? This time construct is put here in order to break up eternity into digestible bites. Give us something to do. But we didn't have so many resets. I mean, if you could just say 1 billion years, you're talking about at least about 30, 40 resets.
Right. Maybe more too. Maybe more than that.
It's most likely way more.
It could be close to 100.
But they cycles within cycles. Like if you go to, when you studying dinosaurs, right, and you understanding that Inky bred dinosaurs to be big as hell for Andromedan beings to have something to hunt. Because when they first came, they was trying to hunt the people, the women, right? And they didn't know that it was a matriarchal planet. And then somewhere in the course of the hunt, the matriarch of the Andromedas get a distress call from the Earth matriarch, and they had a telepathic communication conversation. And so Inky was told to breed the dinosaurs. This is outside of time. That's all that stuff you see is the strata of the Earth. Those are time layers. All of that, what we call layers, that's the sediment of kicking up dust moving through time. Right? But we really not going nowhere. We just spinning our wheels in cycles within cycles. Now we flip out of the infinity loop and resume ascension. The infinity loop was the result of the 6,000 year reign of the one they call Satan or Enlil, Lord Set. Now that his rule is up, because viable heirs have risen to their positions of where they properly supposed to be, and has directed others similarly situated to move where they supposed to be to put the new world in order. They was telling us to look out for a new world order all the time. We was living under the new world order because they said America was the new world.
Right.
And America came with the order of the day. Kill off all the tribes to take the land. And it didn't work.
We'll take one more, man. Somebody says, when are we gonna talk about building our own tribes? The own tribes already, our tribes are already here. We just got we just doing a restructuring now.
Look, when the resources come in, it's going to show you a whole family tree. People think that their family trees is cut off. Ever since these people been over here, they had to keep record. Everything they did. They know who we all are. They know who we are better than we do. Yeah, African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel by Bar Shango.
I'm getting that one. I gotta hear that one. It sounds fire.
Hey, that's called a piece of work. That was one of my favorite reads.
Yeah, you ain't got the rest of it, all the rest of his work once you got that one. So I gotta get that one to check it out. Sound like a fiery brother. It says, American nations still be willing to recognize U.S. for trade.
Look, they don't want to trade with the colonial settlers. They'd rather trade with the organic original people so that they could get the best deal possible between the two people. This is what you're seeing with Trump doing all the tariffs. He ain't adjusted the tariffs for the government. They got to give it all back. And we didn't have taxes on people. We had tariffs, taxes on import and export. Right? That was the transfer of power from import-export to taxation of the people was because the 13th and 14th Amendment freed the private slave and then enslaved everybody together, including the former slave owners. Everybody that had to get a job was a slave.
Right.
You just didn't know you was. Everybody that called themselves a citizen is a slave. Because you got to pledge allegiance to something superior to you. You give up your sovereignty. If you pledge allegiance to a nation, you give up your sovereignty. Your sovereignty is in your family line.
Right.
That's why you used to remember, they used, like, for instance, when you hear Hatfield McCoy, you automatically know it's a family feud going down.
Right.
Right? Even though they eventually married into each other's families. But the legend of the family's name and the feud that they had was so legendary that the bloodline became legendary.
Yeah. That's fire. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I got Chief for the people that was asking. This is the Cash App right here. If you don't got Cash App, we got the PayPal on the screen as well. Like I say, show Chief some love. Everybody send up $5. What else we gonna say? You got any more new updates, Rod? Besides pretty much everything's going as planned, like as we already laid it out.
We already covered everything in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I see them trying to get rid of the dollar probably by middle of next year, end of next year though. Trying to completely dissolve it and start pretty much not the Federal Reserve note, pretty much. That's what it is.
Yeah, bro. The banks gotta collapse to kill the Fed. When the Fed gone, you're gonna know because the bank's gonna collapse. Bank of America, I think it is already starting to close all their branches.
Somebody just put that into say that Wells Fargo, the tales of Wells Fargo.
It was one of my last posts, so I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I know that they moving fast to try to get dissolve the Federal Reserve fiat currency. But it's like it's happening on a slow pace, but it's happening fast though. I think by 2027 January it'll be completely dissolved.
Listen, access denied. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and TD Bank to cease operation at all 10,989 locations as shutdown date revealed.
Wow.
This came out on my birthday on November 11th, by the way. I mean, day after my birthday.
Wow. That's crazy. So, hey, say, Rod, I got a question for you. So, it's some people that got 100,000. They've been working 3 jobs, saving up all this money, and then all of a sudden, boom, all that money they got ain't worth nothing no more. So, what you said that well, it might get switched over, and whatever. I don't know how the new system is gonna convert, but you think they should be able to be transferring and buying guns and butter. You know what I'm saying? Guns and butter. Hey, look. Copy some guns or some gold or something, right? What you think, Rod, about that? You got 100,000 in the account.
Listen, everybody got to handle their business. How they can best handle their business. Everybody can't handle their business like me or you, L. Right. And everybody got a different set of priorities. Some people would rather spend that $100,000 on some sustainable food keeping program than buying guns and bullets.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
But you might have somebody else that's like, shit, I'm gonna take $50K invested in sustainable food product, and I'm gonna take $50K and get me some guns and bullets.
Right. Right.
Right. Then you ask somebody else, they be like, man, I'm gonna take this $100K and I'm gonna build me a bomb shelter, fallout room.
That's more right there.
So it just depends, man. And everybody ain't supposed to do the same thing anyway.
Right.
That's why we be getting life twisted because just because this person did it, we think everybody supposed to do it. Nope, we ain't.
Man, at this point, I don't even see them being able to pull off the I thought it was gonna be at least 60 days or 90-day blackout. I don't even see them be able to pull that off no more. The dark elites.
Well, they can because I don't know if you remember back in 2020, they was trying to blow up the
power station, and they got caught by the Marines. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, they also have other means of shutting power stations down. That's you don't have to be boots on the ground to do it.
Yeah, certain devices. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Drones.
And then we also know that a signature of a great change is what they call rolling blackouts around the world.
Right.
You know. But when you look at what's going on, we passed most all of that kind of stuff. Right now, we're looking for some shenanigans to cause a big information leak.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it. It ain't really a leak. It's a disclosure.
Oh, some creepy. Some of it creepy. Some of that stuff so creepy. People ain't want to believe it, even if it really come out.
No, they ain't gonna want to believe it.
It's too creepy. It's like really. It's so creepy.
Some of their favorite celebrities, they ain't gonna believe their favorite celebrity was a shit eater. I mean, like fecal matter eater.
Yeah, they ain't gonna believe it.
In pate dishes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some of them like baby poop.
Yeah.
And then that's why your favorite celebrity breath smell like shit.
Right. Right, because they do all this weird, creepy, satanic rituals behind those. I ain't heard nothing new from Allie Carter yet, but I'm gonna go look for it, but she usually pop up in my feed.
I ain't seen nothing from her in a minute either. She probably been quiet because she was trying to get off the internet at one point. I don't blame her because the internet is internet streets, boy. They make Miss Gladys and them gossiping in the living room sound like church.
I'm telling you. Hey, but we're in a new era. The age of information, everything is just. If you ain't up to speed, like I was telling somebody, I was talking to this guy, and then all of a sudden he started arguing with me about, yeah, man, I'm telling you, Jesus is coming back, and I just said, yeah, man, and I say, yeah, I gotta go, man, I gotta go, cause like I ain't want to argue, I ain't got time to wrestle with nobody no more. You ain't up to speed by this time with what we know. You probably ain't gonna make it, man. You probably ain't gonna make it to where we at. You know what I'm saying?
I've been past that level a long time ago. Yeah. I ain't got time to be tongue wrestling with these Negroes. Half of them don't know what the hell they talk about. And then I be intellectually bullying them around like, man, you don't even know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk anymore. Yeah.
Not anybody knows. So it's like, at this point, you ain't got time. Wait, Doc said that a long time ago. He said that while you wasting time trying to convince that person, it's another person that's already waiting, that's already wanting to, that's accepting the information. And you can go to them, You wasting time because that other person might be one that look like us, but ain't us.
Look, I be trying to tell them I'm not the one you're trying to convert. I understand what you teach. I already know about your organization. I already read y'all literature. I'm not the one. Just leave it at that. And they be twisted because they be like, you done read our literature and you still like, look, man, before 1492, I wasn't no Christians over here, wasn't no Muslims over here, and wasn't no goddamn Hebrews over here.
None.
So y'all can all take y'all ass back to the Middle East where you belong.
Right. They actually called us Hebrews once we went over there. When we left from over here, we sailed from over here, they called us Hebrews. So yeah, they crossed over the Great River. That's what it means. To cross over is not even a people. It's not even a nationality or nothing. It's just action.
Look, how did Abraham go from being a Chaldean to a Hebrew?
Well, they said the story they give is that the Egyptians called him a Hebrew when he crossed over the Tigris Euphrates. It means to cross over the river. Cross over. It ain't really a name.
So now that's an exonym, right?
Yeah, it's an exonym.
So
It's not even a name.
whose perspective is telling the story? Because if he came from Ur the Chaldees, he would just be a Chaldean.
Yeah, the Egyptians is telling the story about Abraham.
It had to be the Egyptians telling the story because they changed his name to Ibri.
Yeah.
Right? But his name was Abram.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're looking at these stories, if you don't know who's telling the story, you don't even know if the direction they point you is the right direction because you don't know who's telling the story.
Right.
But it'd be little things like that. He crossed over the Tigris and Euphrates, and they say, "Look, Ibri, he crossed over."
Yeah. Right.
That don't even sound right.
Then that becomes a name of a whole people, a tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like some people think, even a language. It becomes a language. They call them. It's really Syriac Arabic, but they saying that it's Hebrew, and that's not even a language.
No, Hebrew is a verb. It's an action.
Yeah.
But see, people take it as a noun.
Yeah.
And they do that in a lot of places.
That's right.
Right? Like a Muslim, one who submit, that's not a noun, a pronoun. It's a verb. It's something you do.
Yeah.
You are in the submissive state to the will of Allah.
Yeah. So they say,
right? With all that, none of that didn't have nothing to do with us. But since they brought it over here, we just went on and mastered it right quick, so we tell everybody how much of a BS it is.
It's all in slavery.
Don't believe the hype. The hardest people defending the doctrine of servitude is the servant himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ones who put you as a servant is the ones telling you that it was used to make you a servant.
Right.
And you defend it if it's the holy gospel truth. Look, I tell people when they come to me with the Bible, Quran, tell me that it's the word of God, Allah, or whatever. If this is God's word, you do not have to pick that book up for it to convince me that it's God's word. That motherfucker gonna do something. It's gonna levitate, page gonna open to a verse a light switch gonna kick on, that one verse gonna be lit up just to tell me that this is the book. But when you go into the book and the book say that this is the word of the Lord. Wait a minute, that same book say anything to testify of itself, testify a lie. So you mean that the book that's telling you is the word of the Lord is testifying the truth at the same time telling you that same testimony is proof of falsehood?
So this.
You can't use that book to convince me it's the word of God. You got to convince me it's the word of God before the book even comes into the equation. That means we got to do something. You got to give me a universal code. Say this 3 times, tap yourself on the shoulder, and you'll be exactly where you want to be in life. And then I tried and it worked. That's the word of God. If it ain't going to do that, it ain't the word of God.
Like a dude told me one time, man, these shoes right here cost $5,000. I say, well, they got a jet fuel to go in there, motherfucker. They must fly. They got wings, everything come out. Some motherfucker with $5,000. Hey, wings, everything. That motherfucker, boy, that's some damn. That's the one with the wings on it. 5,000, boy. You can fly. I ain't paying no $5 for no shoes, boy. You crazy? I'm cheap like my granddaddy, boy. Yeah, boy, $5. I say, man, that man crazy. That's a car. That's a used car. That's a used brand new truck right there, man. That boy walking around in the used truck on his feet. You know what I'm saying? Say it up, man. 5,000. Ain't no way I'm paying over that much for no shoes. What kind of shoes is them, man? And then kind of find out them they made over in China right next to the other one. Just put a name on it and a scrap on, an extra scrap on it. And try to say, oh, they need 5,000. You go, they got the same dummy pair at Walmart. That's the type of stuff how they get us, man, with these names. You know what I'm saying? Man, shit. Ain't no way I'm paying $5 for no shoes. $2,000 for some britches. Man, who wave? That's what my granddaddy called them britches. We still about that word britches, right?
Hey, listen.
They call them paying, but pull up your britches.
I'm not opposed to making my own.
Yeah. Right? That's a good deal.
And I know how to sew.
They call them crown holders. Huh?
I learned how to sew in high school. Sewing machine.
Yeah.
How to make clothes. How to make clothes. I can make my own. I don't need all that high price shit.
Yeah.
But guess what? Now it costs them that much to make it because the fabric's so high.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to just go buy you some $40, $50 Levi's and keep it moving.
Man, that's what I like. 501s. That's my favorite pair of jeans. 501 britches. They cheap, but they good britches though. They like in the middle. They ain't no crown holders like my brother wear. My brother wear crown holder $1,500, $2,000 jeans. Them jeans they'll cost too much money, man. I ain't gonna pay no $2,000 for no jeans. I don't see how you fix your brain to think of pay that much for a pair of jeans. You know what I'm saying? Even if I had $10 million, I still would pay $2,000 for some same jeans that don't feel better than Levi's when you put them on.
Them motherfuckers better be bulletproof.
501 Levi's. Them jeans don't feel like no 501. They feel like some $5,
look,
huh?
If they bulletproof, I buy them.
Yeah, if it's 2,000 and they bulletproof, now you may be working with some.
And the matching jacket to go with it. And the baseball cap.
Yeah. Now, if it's bulletproof, that's different. But they just got all they is these crown holders. They look like Levi's with just a couple extra, symbols on them. Little simple crown holder symbols on them. That's what they look like. But you can get the knockoffs from them boys in Atlanta and them boys down there with my brother down there at Big T's in Dallas. You got Big T's in Dallas, then you got the Metro in Atlanta. You can go get this stuff. Them Africans be having that stuff falling off the back of the truck.
Oh, you know how it goes.
Some of them jeans falling.
Let's go wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a wrap. Hey, it's a wrap, Rod. Hey, y'all, we want to thank y'all. Hey, thank y'all for coming out to kick it with us. Big Momma's part 6. We got part 1 through 5. I got all of them in the descriptions. Hey, y'all, we're going to be back. Hey, y'all, everybody, if you ain't sent Chief something, man, send them $1, send them $5, send them $7, whatever you got, man, whatever you can do. Till we come back on the next time. What I'm going to say, hey, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Like I say, we celebrate Thanksgiving for a different reason now. It's more like a family meeting, kicking it, eat some good food, chilling, drinking some good drink, kicking it, relax. So we ain't really looking at it as far as the slaughter that happened to our people. We're looking at the good side of it, right? The good side is the family coming together. So on that note, man, we about to get up out of here. Shout out to all the matriarchs on the land. Free all the chiefs. Let the 4 chiefs walk. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be back, y'all. Wadu.
I do.
Never have it been made so clear.